Okay, we will now reconvene into open session. The time is now 7 p.m. If you would please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and to the Texas Pledge. Okay, I'd like to consider action on items discussed in closed session. Do I have a motion for our first item?
So moved.
Thank you. Would you read the motion into the record,
will.
please?
I move that all personnel recommendations be approved and presented by administration.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a second? Is that Ms. Prosnick? Okay. It's a motion by Mr. Miller, a second by Ms. Prosnick. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? And that is unanimous. All right. And for our second item, oh my goodness, how embarrassing. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion. I move to approve the superintendent contract amendment as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a
I'm sorry. I move to approve the superintendent contract addendum as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Sells. That is a motion by Mr. Miller and a second by Ms. Sells. Any discussion? All those in favor? And that also is unanimous. Okay. Well, as we move into our meeting, first we want to just thank you all for being here with us tonight. As a reminder, meetings of the board are open to the public but are not meetings of the public. Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly in a regular meeting to receive reports from staff and take action on items and recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation approximately 10 days in advance of regular meetings. This has been a change based on past procedures. This allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions in advance of the regular meeting. This change in protocol also means that lengthy discussion or a litany of questions on every item of the agenda often is not necessary, and as a board, we have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of our meeting tonight. There are students and other guests present. To maintain decorum, respectful behavior is expected. Disruptive behavior and/or comments will not be allowed. So we have no formal recognitions this evening. However, we would like to draw your attention over to Miss Rapp, who is now Dr. Rapp, and we just want to congratulate her on that. And we are very proud of her. I know that was a lot of hard work, and but very deserving, and so we're excited to have another doctor up here with us. So, okay. All right, so next we'll move on to our open forum. Persons desiring to address the Board of Trustees must fill out a speaker's card prior to the meeting. No presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. The board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda. For our first few, I'm going to invite Stephen Teo. He's going to come to the podium and help us with our first few comment cards.
Zangfa nok tin min kan au min ha kha ka hin nan rak chuak te le sangkul cheu yang par Mary Sumsum Chia Thlue Sumpar
Mr. Teo, just as a reminder that we will have the clock up there. Each response has 3 minutes. Okay. push the.
I don't speak that much, but I try the best I can. Okay, first of all, I came here for everything is thank you. I don't want to move the school because I worked here over there with the MBM over here. If they move to over there, with like 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles from here, how can I take care of my kid to send to school? I have to work early morning. It would take an hour and a half to send to school with my kid. First of all, I don't want for moving another place. This is the closest place for me, and about my community, here's a lot. I have a relative a lot, so I want to stay here. I don't want to move somewhere else. I feel the best place for here is for me, and my church is behind me here, so very close for the church too. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Asakan du ko tinaki siko.
Huh?
Okay, trokan du lang tinaki mo.
Oh.
Okay. Siya in ki ro piak lau kin sak piak he kan du ko. Ki siya ki kan tela rian tuan pa le tun kal pa tan kan siya an lam that kin chin nu le pa cha kan ki kan sikau de lau e sak piak he kan du ko tinaki.
Sakpiak.
Oh,
okay.
very tan kan du ko.
Okay. Yeah, she's trying to say that she doesn't want to move the school, so they just want to build a new school at that place. That's what she tried to say. Thanks.
Bichim nak zam thak za galom ke karama ke kan phale phim chon nak du ro ai ka hin kan rak ra e rem ron pa la ak song that lo cha ka khin se an nai te ya in kan chon ha in kan lang na e atu un to kan sang in the ding ubin sit te ka hin nu la pa cha har sa ngai lai te ka ra ma cha chen tha te in tu se an nai te kan te ka tha te in rian zong kan tron khau te ka hin nu la pa zong kan lam tling ngai cha chen sang in the yak lao dinga.
Yeah, thank you so much for like giving us a speech for like talking about the school. That what she said, and she doesn't want to move the school to a new place too because like that was the closest place for them. That's why this is the place, the best place for stay. So that was it. She tried to say. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jana nan mai tha bichim nak chan tha ka mu cha kai lom ti khan sim ta ka du he ban tuk in siak in he ka khin se ti ki nu la pa sin kan du ngai ka arwang chu ki ka khin in ti la kan ti ka anai kan phali cha sang kai na anai nak te kan rak fu ni asi ti ka khin ren tron nak la waya kan phali sang kai nak sang nu la pa cha kan ro atlin nak bik sura te kan ro e ka te khin kan bom kau chung lai ni ka te khin sang kan sak pya kau ti kha sim ka du kai lom.
It was the same thing, and she doesn't want to move the school too because that was the closest for her kid and for her. So she doesn't drive. That's why like she can take them to like walk. So that was the best place for them. So instead of like moving a new place, please like build a new place, a new school in there. That was she tried to say. Thanks.
Thank you.
Tha kan hu cha rong lom nak tam pi kan ngai atu siang an the ding kong hin nu le pa cha a hin pha le anung mi kan sitika pha le cha anung mi kan sitika siang hi the lau kan du kau kan pha le kan nin ha jong rian kan tuan khau du to kan lam nai te siang tika kan ha angam tu siang cha sak pya kan du kau tia kan ha atla kalom.
Yeah. Thank you so much to be here like that. I am allowed to speak, and she said like the school was like the best place for them. It was so close, so they can walk like safely. So they feel they feel so safe when the school was so close because they can't like worry too much about their kid anymore. That's why they want to like build a new new school in there instead of like moving to a new place. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your help with that. All right, our next speaker is Kimberly Poe.
I appreciate you giving me the chance to be heard tonight. I come to you as a parent of elementary school age children, one of which who is in the dual language program, and a high school foreign exchange student at Marcus High School. My husband is also a teacher within the district and has worked hard for many years to gain expertise in his profession in teaching. Myself and many others are very concerned about the DOI for our kids. The lack of communication from the DOI committee and the school board to the parents raises high speculation and many questions. Why has there not been any transparency in the process? My case in point, the parents and the public were asked to pick a calendar option, but were given only a very broad sentence about the DOI plan our district is seeking. I am not willing to vote for the DOI calendar for the simple fact that I don't understand what you really want to accomplish with this change. What is LASD's intent with the DOI? Why do we need it? How does it benefit our kids? As a DOI has the ability to change class size, teacher qualifications, and other financially driven decisions outside the state mandates. All of these are important aspects that can influence my child's educational experience and the job security of teachers like my husband who are certified and work hard for a living. Lowering our expectations and qualifications of teachers does not increase the likelihood of you finding candidates to fill the spot to teach. Isn't the problem dispatched with lesser qualified individuals? Furthermore, how does becoming a DOI affect our finances with state and federal money? With the law recently being available, what are the long-term repercussions for those districts taking on DOI? Do they like it? Do they want to stay in it? There are just too many unknowns. And without the full details of LISD's plan, I'm extremely hesitant. Is there a way to unlink the calendar for the next year and give more time to fully evaluate what DOI is, what it will mean in this district? Let's see how it plays out in other districts and that are just now starting to implement them. There are no reports on long-term issues and other consequences so far as I could find, but they aren't available. Will the districts that have made them still feel the same way about them? Why the rush? I don't like the fact that I could not select a calendar C or D option, but yet I'm told they're held hostage by DOI plans I don't have the details on. DOI is more than a calendar. By sending out your simple survey about a school calendar, you set up an eerie feeling that the public is being duped. Without a plan to review prior to voting on a preferred calendar, it makes us wonder, just what are you trying to push through, besides the simple start date for our school year? Lastly, and most importantly, the DOI is lasting for at least a duration of 5 years, all of which you will be up for re-election before that's over.
Thank you, Ms. Poe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Emily Nahara. Najera.
My name is Emily. Sorry. My name is Emily, and I have a little brother. His name is Andrew, and I don't want to be separated by him. So Hedrick is like another family. Like me, it's the second family. I love Hedrick, and I don't want to be separated by my brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Our next speaker is Luis Banuelos. Is Luis Banuelos in here? Okay. Our next speaker, Emily Strittmatter.
Good evening. My name is Emily Stripmatter. My kids do or will attend LASD schools, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about the Hedrick Elementary within the proposal for the bond package. The imposed motto of the Facilities Advisory Committee, which I was on, was you won't get everything you want, but you will get something you want. Except I came into this process with no agenda or line item to get approved. My own personal motto was serve the children of LASD so that they may all have an equal opportunity at success. The reality is that some kids in LASD are born on the front row of life with every opportunity at their fingertips. But other children are not as lucky. Their opportunities can be limited and fragile. I firmly believe that public school can be the great equalizer of opportunity for children, a place where every child can be given a chance to succeed. But as you all know, that means resources, both educational and financial, must be allocated accordingly. I truly believe that failing to rebuild Hedrick Elementary is not serving the children of LASD so that they have an equal chance at success. At first blush, I too thought, wonderful, we can save $30 million. Because at some point you have a little sticker shock at the size of the bond. And fiscal responsibility and being good stewards of taxpayer dollars is important. But what is more important is that all children in LASD are given the chance that they need to succeed. The families and children of Hedrick Elementary need the resource of a local, easily accessible elementary school. They need dedicated and invested faculty. They need a school district who says, you may feel like you're on the back row of life, but we are here to help you succeed. And one great way to show that support is to put your money where your mouth is. So let's talk about money for a minute. Adding Hedrick will increase the bond proposal by 4%. This only equates to half of 1 cent increase in the tax rate. And that's what I'm asking you to consider today, essentially. Half of 1 penny, which equates to a quarter to 75 cents per day per household for an average home value. This small amount will positively impact not just the 600 plus students who attend Hedrick today, but tens of thousands of children and their families who will attend Hedrick in the years to come. An additional consideration is how this decision to close and not rebuild Hedrick will impact the general fund. I appreciate that they are separate buckets, but the two are intertwined. If children are bused to schools farther from their homes, they are more likely to have absences for a wide array of reasons. And as you all know, absences affect the general fund in a big way. Additionally, more buses will likely be required in order to get these kiddos to school, and I'm assuming this funding comes from the general fund too. So while half a cent increase might feel like too much, I would suggest that you may come out behind in the long run. High school entry reconfiguration and expansion of a career center, while an entire other career center is being proposed to be built, black box theater additions and athletic facilities are included in this bond package. All bring some value to our district, no doubt. But are those more important than an entire elementary school? Surely not. Those were just a few of the priority 2 items that were approved instead of Hedrick Elementary, which was determined, one, not by the Facilities Advisory Committee, but by the educated and highly talented LASD staff. I have not mentioned the viability of the bond or whether the students where the students who might be bused from Hedrick, might they not be rebuilt. But I would be remiss not to mention that. I'm simply baffled.
Thank you,
and I
Ms.
ask that you
Stripmeyer.
reconsider the decision not to rebuild
Thank
Hedrick.
you. All right. Our next speaker is Meredith McGee.
My name is Meredith McGee. I went to Hedrick. My kids go to Hedrick. But if this bond passes, their kids won't go to Hedrick. So many kids will be bussed out where they can't walk, where they can't participate in after-school activities because they got to catch the bus. They can't hang out with their friends, build relationships in the community. How is this best for our children? How is this best for the 600 kids plus that go to Hedrick? And where is the transparency? Why is this best? Why will nobody tell us? I feel like a conspiracy theorist trying to figure out what little buttons are behind all this. Are you trying to split up our Title I school and create more Title I schools with our underprivileged kids? Is this about rezoning? What is the agenda? Why won't you tell us? We're reasonable people. Explain to us why this is the best choice.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Shannon Richardson.
I know that many see us as standing in the way of progress and modernization, but you get such a nice new middle school, they say. People just don't understand why we would be fighting so hard against this plan. Well, there are lots of fights today where the little guy gets run over by the big guy in the name of progress and the greater good. Take the Dakota Access Pipeline, where hundreds of natives are fighting against a pipeline that will run right through their land so a corporation can sell some oil. Same thing for those who lived on the edge of I-35. When the highway expanded, those folks lost their family homes in the name of progress that benefited millions of other people who wanted a wider road to get them to work and home. In the same way, LASD believes we should just fall upon the sword of progress so that others can get their needs met. Our families will be upended, inconvenienced, and separated from one another. Our children sacrificed to Moloch in the name of progress and modernization. Our return on this investment is much lower, and our personal costs will be much higher. We pay for this progress for years, but we'll have one less school to show for it, and we'll have added transportation costs and hassle. But even more than that is now our trust in LASD is eroded. We are assured our children will be taken care of, but how do we have that guarantee when construction finishes in 4 to 6 years from now, and many of you are no longer on the dais available to keep your promises? What assurances do we have that our sacrifices will even be remembered? Like the seeds of a dandelion, once it's blown, you can't get it back. It might be viewed as noble to be the sacrificial lamb, but if you're the lamb being led to the slaughter, your point of view is much different. I don't figure that any of our speeches here today will make much difference. You've all pretty much made up your minds. Your studies and reports say it's better for us. But your studies and white papers don't look at our kids' faces every morning. Those studies take the human out of the education process and make us numbers. Those white papers don't show the costs that our families have to shoulder in addition to our higher taxes, and they don't show how you'll lose our trust. Out of all the emails, speeches, protests, media appearances, letters to the editor, and so on, the loudest noise is the silence from the board. Out of the 7 members of the dais, less than half even bothered to reply or listen to us. This is supposed to be a representative government, but frankly, I've gotten more response writing my state and national leaders than I have from the majority of the local LISD board who live in the same district. And that is the most telling of all. Perhaps we wouldn't have convinced you, but at least you could have given us the courtesy of saying so. And so in 6 years, when all this construction is finished and we have a new middle school and maybe a new board of trustees, after all our elementary kids are dispersed, our sacrifice will be forgotten completely and will be wiped away from the memory of the district, all for the sake of progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Our next speaker is Michael Wheeler.
Good evening. Having served on the facility committee, and although my kids will not be affected by the Hedrick decision, I come asking you to consider rebuilding Hedrick Elementary. In addition, I'd like to provide some feedback from last week's workshop. I'd like to thank Ms. Cox for her passionate plea in support of rebuilding Hedrick. In addition, she presented plans where both schools could be built at the current location. However, her plea fell on deaf ears, with the exception of Ms. Prosnick, who asked about where the bus kids was, what school the bus kids were feeding to. No trustee even presented any argument on behalf of the Hedrick students. In fact, Ms. Sales pretty much reprimanded Ms. Cox and stated that she resented her even bringing the plan and that it was too late. But as I tell my kids, it's never too late to make a right decision. When discussing the College Street rebuild, Ms. Hassett made a sincere, heartfelt acknowledgement that the College Street kids deserve better, and everyone agreed. But I'm here to say the Hedrick kids deserve better as well. Furthermore, Mr. Miller stated that he had not received one complaint from anyone regarding not rebuilding. However, if you would look at the video of the last board meeting, there were numerous voices of opposition. In addition, I'd like to ask, how many people in the Hedrick community did you reach out to get feedback? Because that's part of your responsibility as a trustee of this board. And so that's a responsibility not only for you, but for everyone else as well. Next, Mr. Rogers read a prepared statement on the many programs that are offered at Hedrick, and he also acknowledged the hard work that the staff does there. I totally agree with everything that he said. This district and the teachers are doing some awesome things at Hedrick. And that's why it boggles my mind why we want to jeopardize all the goodwill that you guys have done for the sake of not rebuilding the school. Why? Why is what I keep asking myself. Is it to save 1/2 of 1 cent on the tax rate? To me, that just doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm sure everyone else, it doesn't make any sense either. In conclusion, I really hope and pray that you will reconsider rebuilding Hedrick Elementary. It's just the right thing to do. You would really be doing a disservice to those students, but also the other students of this district, if this bond should fail based on your resistance of including rebuilding the school in the bond package. And lastly, I hope that you don't take my comments as a personal attack on the board, because they are not meant to be. As you can see, I've acknowledged a lot of the good that the board has done, as well as the district. However, I've also included an honest critique based on the statements and actions of the trustees themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Israel Medina.
I think we shouldn't close the school. No, I think we should rebuild the school, because if we don't, the students they're gonna need to go to a different school that's farther, and then their parents are gonna need to wake them up earlier so they can get there in time, and I think that's gonna really that's gonna decrease their knowledge, because they're going to be tired and not energetic enough for the math, science, and subjects like that.
Thank you. Our next speakers are Jared and Brianna Rosales. Hey, can we reset that time, please? There we go. Thank you. All right, y'all ready? Okay, go.
Please don't wreck our school. We have memories here, and we want to stay here.
This school has been here for many years, and if you destroy it, please rebuild it and with a second floor in the summer. Also, the one by Cohen and the college has been there for many years, and that school needs to be destroyed and rebuilt because the floors are cracked.
Thank you so much. Maria Alba.
Hello, I'm Maria. I'm 9 years old, and I'm go to 4th grade. I love Hedrick, and I don't want that the school is going to be thrown down, and I feel kind of sad that the kids that walk to their houses to the school, and the morning and the afternoon, and I I wish that the school will not be thrown down. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think this is Samantha and Elizabeth Rodriguez. Is that right? Here we go.
Hello, my name is Lisbeth Rodriguez. I'm a student of Lewisville High School, and she's my sister Amanda. She is a student from Hilo High School, and we came here to talk about our schools. That we love our schools. This is a result for all of us, and we don't want to move of school because, as you all know, that this school is a bilingual school, and this can help our children to learn two different languages, and this is school, like the children, thinking of children, they are join this school. They're happy when this school. They can. They feel like. They feel sad about their school because they don't want to move school because they can think about how they're gonna adopt her to a different school, how they're gonna like be in another school with their friends and all that stuff. And we need our school. This school is our community, our second family, our second home. And this school matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amelia Palmer.
Okay, I want to thank you for letting me speak again. I spoke to you guys before. I want to ask something different. I want to ask that you don't look at me while I'm talking. I want you to look out here. This is who we're speaking for. These are the people we love and we care about. And we want you to understand it's more than about Mr. Miller saying there's not enough space on the land. I talked to Mrs. Cox. Please look at these people. I talked to Mrs. Cox. She gave you information on how there is room on the land. Mrs. Hassett, it's not about separating these families and putting these children in other schools where they'll be surrounded by more English speakers so they can learn English better. These people are going to a school that has an amazing immersion dual language program. My children are in that. I see that their classes are a mixture, a beautiful mixture of Hispanic and English speakers that can help each other and can support each other. And I know that the Burmese students are in English-only classes. Taking them to other schools is not going to change the education that they're getting at Hedrick. It's not going to be any different. So to say that it is isn't fair. And it also kind of implies that our teachers aren't doing everything that the teachers at the other schools are doing because they're getting the same program. It's saddening. It's frustrating. It doesn't make any sense. Every argument you guys have given, we can shoot holes in them. There's no good, sound reason not to provide for these people a school that their children can go to. There's just no good reason. That school has been there and supported them and helped them. And it is heartbreaking on Thursday night to listen to how wonderful College Street was and how thrilled you are to give them the school they deserve. And then hear how wonderful Miss Kuckler is and how great a job everyone at Hedrick has done, but they don't deserve to be rebuilt. That is heartbreaking. When you have children in that school and you see those teachers and the staff loving your children, teaching your children to a degree I never imagined teachers could teach, and then hear that the other school qualifies for this rebuild because 300 of their kids were displaced because there wasn't enough room in the school. We have 600 children that will be displaced because they won't have a school, and that's going to impact the other schools in the area who have to take on our children when they're mostly at capacity or near capacity. It's the same argument over and over again. You guys have heard this. You guys know. Everything you say to us, we can tell you how it doesn't hold a strong enough argument to not rebuild the school. Please, look at them. Look in their faces. This is important. This is not just, oh, for a couple of years. This is their lifetime.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. Frank Vaughn.
Hi, my name is Frank Vaughn. My kids went to College Street Elementary. My son is a senior at UT, majoring in physics and math, doing very well because of College Street. Small little school, little underfunded, little basic, but teachers that care, everybody knows them. I looked at the 10-year forecast you guys have. College Street's declining in numbers. 2027, it shows 203. Central's declining in numbers. So according to this data, you're declining in numbers, yet you're building new schools. And I don't understand why that is. Lewisville High School got split into 3 campuses before y'all got here. I went to every single meeting. Every parent spoke out against that, and that happened anyway. I'm afraid this is going to happen here. We're going to speak about this, and it's going to happen anyway. And this is an observation, not a critique. Okay, guys? 40% of the Lewisville students are minorities. And there's no minorities up here. Okay? Almost 40% of the students in Lewisville ISD are from Lewisville, and there are no Lewisville members on this board. So we don't have representation, and this happens because you guys will split schools out and bus kids. And what we're asking for is the same equality as Flower Mound and Highland Village, have our neighborhood schools, and not have our kids bust all over creation. For some reason, y'all think it's okay to bus Lewisville kids everywhere. And I don't know why that happens to just Lewisville kids. But it's getting old. So there are a few things we can do. We can petition for single-member districts so we can get representation. You can vote for single-member districts, and we can do that. I would recommend that we look at cumulative voting. Okay? It's statute 11.054. It allows the district to say people can get votes and look at cumulative voting because we need representation. We want our kids to have the best, just like you do in Flower Mound and Highland Village. So how do we get there? We'll say this stuff. You'll do what you do. It's already decided. That's the way it goes. That's the way it's always been with this group. And it's very frustrating to go up here and see all these kids and all these people pouring their hearts out, and it's already decided. So we need representation. We need someone that doesn't want to bus our kids all over the place. We want the same opportunity for our kids that you guys have on your side of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Claudia De La O.
From one of our parents. She asked me to read it to you, so it goes like this. Dear Dr. Rogers and School Board, I am speaking for my children who have been at Hedrick Elementary for several years. This school has been a safe haven for them. They have seen the staff and teachers as family. My kids have grown physically and emotionally thanks to Hedrick, and this education has prepared them for their future. When you talk about not rebuilding Hedrick Elementary School, have you taken into consideration the kids? And what will they lose? Since they consider Hedrick Elementary their home, most of them will be left homeless. Because now this Hedrick family will be separated and sent to different schools. Dr. Rogers, as a former fighting farmer, we thought that you, of all people, would be empathetic to Hedrick Elementary School. Please, Dr. Rogers and school board, we thought don't let down our children and rebuild Hedrick Elementary School. You are right, sir, when you say that our parents can't vote, but their children still count. Thank you.
Thank you. Darla Johnson.
I brought Claudia back with me because we are the front line at Hedrick Elementary. We're the welcoming committee. We're the ones the parents speak to first when they come in the door. And I just want you to understand how difficult it's been for us to two people who love our school very much, to have to try and answer these questions for these families and not have the answers for them. And I don't think it's right that that burden was placed upon us to try and answer these questions. And we're the ones that are looked upon as kind of the bad guys for not having those answers for these families. That is not right. Something should have been done. Mr. Rogers, you should have come to our school and spoken to our parents. Somebody from the board should have come to the school and spoken to our parents. This is not fair. It is not fair to us, and it is not fair to them. And I think Claudia probably agrees with me. I need a little support right now.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I just wanted to bring up one other thing. I don't know if you saw on the news, there is a school in Dallas right now that they have decided to rebuild. They were thinking about closing it because of the low enrollment numbers and the low scores. The name of that school is the J.W. Ray Learning Center. Miguel Salas, a school trustee, stated that the district was operating with an archaic mindset when dealing with campuses with declining enrollment, using closure or consolidation as its only options. I hope that you will take a note from our district to the east and start looking ahead at practices that are not as archaic, closing schools just because you can. I don't even know why, but thank you for listening to us tonight.
Thank you. Blanca Robinson.
My name is Blanca Robinson, and I am a parent at Hedrick Elementary. I have been a parent for 12 years, and I'm still a Hedrick parent, and I will always be a Hedrick Elementary parent. Didn't know what to say to y'all. I was at the Thursday evening meeting. Yes, I was there till 11 o'clock with y'all, and I still don't know what I need to add, but I thought it was very, very important that you heard my voice, because the facilities assessment recommendation does not include my voice. It does not include the voice of all these people. We are not we are not technology that you voted upon. We are not a theater that you voted upon or agreeing to. We are 620 students and families. We all have our differences, different reasons why we want the school rebuilt, but no one came to talk to us. No one came to ask us what we thought. We, the parents, we're the ones that know what's best for our children, and you're hearing it over and over, and you have been hearing it over and over. Rebuilding the school is the right thing to do for us, for our families, our communities. We are a family, and, you know, CPS does everything possible to keep families together. That's the right thing to do. And I just hope that you do the right thing, because keeping the school, rebuilding it, is the right thing to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Veronica Cortez.
I am a current staff member and parent of 2 Hedrick Elementary students, grades kinder and second. I am also a parent of a 7th grader at Hedrick Middle School. I am here tonight in support of rebuilding Hedrick Elementary, since the middle school is already included in the bond. My husband and I believe that it is very important to provide a stable environment for our children, and for that reason we lived in the same home for over 13 years. And now, to the decisions of the FAC that they have proposed and that you all have agreed on, and not including the rebuild of Hedrick Elementary, has caused lots of stress, anxiety, and many headaches in my entire family. Why, you may ask? Because we have not been getting any information directly from the board or any representative as to why our school will be the first school in LISD history to be torn down and not rebuilt. Our children ask me questions like, "Mommy, what school are we going to be sent to? What is going to happen to my friends? Why are we going to be split up? Where are you going to work?" Why can't our school be rebuilt like Central and Lakeland? As a mother, it is very important to have answers to all the questions. But with these questions, I have no words and answers to them. I don't know what to say to them to prepare them for the unknown. None of you have children or grandchildren that attend Hedrick Elementary. And none of you have ever walked a day in the shoes of the lives of our immigrant refugee families. Because if you had the slightest idea of what it takes to be an immigrant, a refugee, Hedrick Elementary would have been included in the current bond proposal. Our school has become an essential part to survive everyday life. For some of the students and families, we have families that only have one vehicle for form of transportation. Did you ever stop to think that the other parent or that parent uses that vehicle to go to work every day to provide for their family, leaving the other parent at home to walk their child across the street every day in rain, snow, heat, or any weather condition that we have? They have to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they don't return till the evening. So their only transportation is by foot. Also, half of the students that come to our school every day because they live across the street or within walking distance. Has anyone taken the time to come down to our school during morning drop-offs or after school dismissals and notice how many students walk across the street? When our children get sick, parents walk to school to pick their children up and they carry them home. Or when the parent is called by the school by the nurse, says, your child has 102 fever, please come get your child. And their employer denies them the opportunity to leave work early to go pick up their child. But what do? They count on a neighbor that is next door, that is across the street, to call them and say, hey, could you do me a favor? Please go pick up my son. He has 102 fever. The school can't give him anything.
Thank you. Glenn Smith.
Madam President, trustees, Dr. Rogers, and your leadership team. I wanted to take a moment and introduce myself. We're on the agenda under the delinquent tax collection contract. You've had a no contact clause in your proposal, so I thought I would just take a moment here to introduce our staff, which is Cheryl Knighton. These are all partners of mine in the law firm. Cheryl lives in your district and volunteers a lot with your foundation. Beth Weller, Corey Fickus, and Charles Brady came in just a little bit later. We're very excited to have a chance to make a proposal to you. I wanted to compliment your staff and your leadership team that made up the committee. They were obviously very well prepared. They had read the proposal and had very good questions to ask. Our firm's the largest firm in Texas that collects property taxes. I was sitting here a minute ago thinking we have about 70 to 75 years of tax collection experience sitting here tonight. And we would very much like to apply that to a district the size of Lewisville ISD. You've grown exponentially over the last 30 years while Mr. Luna was your counsel and your tax collection lawyer. You're now the 15th largest district in the state of Texas, and we'd love to show you the results and the service that a firm our size could provide to you. Also, have no interest in your bond election or your elementary school, but I couldn't help but think when people were talking about a half of 1 cent, and I thought about how large you are and the $400 million that you levy, that 1/2 of 1 cent is millions of dollars a year. You're a very large district, and I'd love to provide you some of the best services, legal services in the state to you. Anyway, thank you very much. I didn't have a chance to meet you earlier with the no contact clause, and wanted a chance to say hello tonight.
Thank you. Peter Robner.
I'd actually like to address the parents here today instead of you board members, because we parents, we're the ones that vote for these people up here. If we don't like what they're doing, it's our fault. 2 of them have the opportunity to be replaced in May at this election. I want to say shame on you board members for getting us into $1.2 billion worth of debt as a school board. And now you're asking for another $750 million worth of money. And you say that you can't rebuild a school because there's no money, yet you're spending $60 million to create multi-purpose use facilities at 2 schools because you claim that all facilities need to be equal. So there are some schools but not others, so you have to create them at other schools. But then you're telling these parents back here at Hedrick that they're not equal. I don't see how that's fair. You're spending $40 million in the next 5 years on sports, but you can't find $40 million to educate 600 kids. I don't know how this is. In 2005, you guys asked for $200 million. Again, in 2008, you asked for another $700 million. According to your own total bonded debt from 2006 to 2015, you have increased every single year of your bonded debt. How are you paying this back? Why do we have to keep supporting a corporation that runs in the negative? If you were any corporate board, you would be replaced as board of trustees. Why do we have to keep protecting you guys for your mismanagement of our money? As parents, I urge us to replace these board members at this election and find people who will balance the budget. You guys are spending like you're in Congress. You take our tax money and you spend it where it's not needed. Why can't we cash flow this? Why can't you save the money and when you get it, you then buy and build your new school? Why do we must keep borrowing and borrowing? On your website, you say that it's like a mortgage on a home, that you get a mortgage to replace your HVAC, you get a mortgage to replace your roof. Well, guess what? You guys go through these. This is a 5-year projection. You're asking for 5-year renewal stuff of over $200 million. So that means another 5 years, you're going to ask for another $200 million, and it takes 20 years to repay each $200 million. The math doesn't add up. When will you have a zero balanced budget? When will you spend the money that you have? Currently, you're spending more than what you have. So to say it's a mortgage, that's where debt comes from. There's no security, and there's no security for our children. So I urge you parents to replace these board members, 2 of them this year, if they insist on moving forward with this bond, and not replacing Hedrick, get rid of them. It's our voice, it's our vote. Put people in there that will do what our kids need, that will spend the money wisely. We do it with the Senate, we do it with Congress, so let's do it with this board too. Thank you.
Thank you. Merelda Vasquez. Is Merelda here? Okay. Steve Babbitt is our last speaker tonight.
Madam President, Mr. Vice President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rogers, thank you so much. I'm here tonight really as I'm a council member in Carrollton. I'm also a mayor candidate in Carrollton. I'm not here for that purpose. I'm really here as a Facilities Advisory Commission participant. I want to congratulate you all for the process that you went through, the process that involved 80 plus citizens throughout your district to weigh in on their careabouts and the projects that you put forth. I found the process to be something enlightening, something I haven't seen with other school districts or even Carrollton. As in Carrollton, 50% of our city is effectively LISD. It's our fastest growing area. Hebron High School is our flagship high school in that part of the city. And we clearly have careabouts in that part of it. As a Facilities Advisory Commission and a volunteer within the community, again, I was very pleased with the inclusiveness that you showed in forming this committee. I met people throughout the entire district, some in Carrollton, but most not. I met many of these participants in terms of had the opportunity to vet many projects, diverse projects, some of which are close to home in Carrollton, most of which were not. And so you really gave these citizens the opportunity to sit in or stand in your shoes, to evaluate these projects, the pros, the cons, the limited resources on both sides of the house. And so, I just wanted to give a positive feedback back from the facilities as a participant on the FAC. Thank you for your diligence on Thursday night last week in terms of reviewing each one of these projects. You had the opportunity to rubber stamp everything. Instead, you pulled many of these projects there, and I sat there till 11 p.m. because I do have a care about as well for my constituents in Carrollton. I appreciate the diligence that you showed. I appreciate the compassion and the passion that you showed on all sides of the issues. I appreciate the passion and the community involvement here tonight, and I know you do as well. I hope you'll endorse the FAC's work and take it into account. A lot of people put a lot of time into this over several months. But lastly, I thank you for your service. It is time. You're volunteers. I get that. I think the citizens get that. I thank you for your time. I thank you for answering the call to serve our children, right, in terms of the city, because it is a calling to be an educator. It's a calling to be a public servant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, that concludes the open forum portion of our meeting. Next, we'll move on to our information items. First item we have on our agenda is the potential bond refunding opportunity. Mr. Ball?
Thank you, Madam President. This is an item following our process of having the board look at an item 3 times. Tonight, this item is on as an information item. We would expect it to be back in March as a discussion item with some direction, and then as an action item in April. And what this item is, it's an opportunity to have a refunding or a refinancing of some existing bonded debt at a lower interest rate. And if the interest rates hold at the level where they were when our projections were done, it would save about $9.9 million over a 10-year period without extending the final payment for the bonds to be refunded. And so it's really just kind of a heads-up item tonight that this item is out there, and we've got our fingers crossed that interest rates will continue to be to hold at a point where that would make this transaction feasible for the board's consideration at a future month.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Since this will come back for discussion next month, we can discuss that more there. I would ask that if you have questions in the interim, perhaps send those to Mr. Ball so that the staff could be prepared for any questions you may have next month. Well, we have discussion. Mr. Miller, do you have a question?
I do. I just want to use this as an opportunity to make a statement since we received a lot of input, and I think it's important at this time, because it's an information item, that people understand the importance of this item. So this will go through 3 steps. This is the first step, information. You're aware of it. We are not a district that spends beyond our budget. In fact, this is a testament to that. We have reduced, since I've been a trustee, our debt by over $150 million in less than 3 years. If you look at our school district compared to other school districts, we're paying all of our debt off in 2030. So I get that some people don't like the debt. Then the iPads that your kids have at school don't exist, right? There are things that you do every day in your classrooms that you benefit from because of decisions that trustees made in thinking about how we secure money in a world where school finance is very complicated in the cross-pollination of money. So we've made those decisions, and we'll continue to make those decisions in looking at how we're going to spend our money going forward. Debt is a part of schools and growth. I wish it wasn't. Mr. Ferson, who represented me in the committee, ran on that, and I think he learned a lot about how schools operate and why we have to incur debt based on our financial model. We, as a district, have accrued a large fund balance over the years because we did not spend what we thought we would. Every year up until this year, we put money back in our fund balance. So this is an example of our district and really the staff's diligence around the instruments that we have. When we can refinance them, we do, so that we can save money. Saving $11 million over the next 10 years is a big deal. That's $1 million a year of your tax money that can be put to better use. And I appreciate the staff continuing to bring those forward, and our bond team and the outside services that we get in supporting this. I know they're in the audience, and so I hope that we continue to have opportunities to refinance these and lower our debt on a go-forward basis.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Great point. Any other comments? Okay. Next item, Instructional Materials Proclamation 2017. Dr. Rapp.
Thank you, Madam President. Just really quickly, this is information item this month. It is time once again to select instructional materials in the content areas of CTE and languages other than English. Teachers are currently analyzing materials and providing feedback. The materials are available online for parents to preview. Now that we have online materials, it's much easier for parents to preview those materials sitting right in the comfort of their home, but we also have in-person preview opportunities. We're going to add a preview opportunity in March to give a little bit more lead time for parents to come out and see those materials as well. Recommendations for these materials will follow the 3-month process, so this will be discussion next month and then an action item in April. The State Board of Education process does not allow for materials in AP courses, so we work with our amazing purchasing department to secure materials for those classes. And we'll also be able to have a discussion about the recommendations with the Curriculum and Programs Committee coming up.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rapp. Yes.
Dr. Rapp, just to clarify, so if a parent wanted to come review the materials, do they just need to contact you? Do they just show up? How does that process work?
So basically, we have an in-person preview session. We'll re-put out that date in March, and we have all those materials available in the evening as to not conflict with any daytime schedules. And all the materials are there to preview. Any other time that they want to preview materials, they can absolutely contact our office, and we'll be happy to arrange that as well if online is not convenient.
And that's all posted on the district webpage because you had that the previous one was done
Yes.
that way, so this one would follow the same pattern.
And it's scrolling on the campus pages and available via social media.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay. All right. Our next item is the legislative update. Ms. Prosnick, I'm going to let you take that one.
Thank you, Ms. Sheffield. I have the privilege of serving on the board's legislative committee with Ms. Cox and Ms. Temish. And this month we're going to be highlighting vouchers. But first, I'd like Ms. Timish represented us at the National School Board Advocacy Institute. And if you could give us a summary of your time there.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brosnick. I had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to visit with Senator Cornyn, who spent some time with 70 delegates from Texas. I also was in a meet and greet really with Senator Cruz, but I appreciate we all know how busy they are taking the time to visit with us. I was able to have a 1-hour meeting with Congressman Marchant where he really listened to the things that are going on in our school district, as Congressman Marchant represents about half. And then I also had the opportunity to meet with Congressman Burgess. Frisco ISD and Denton ISD was also there. And so we just really talked about some issues that are impacting us locally, and they are very supportive of us as a school district, and I appreciate that support, and I look forward to their continued support.
Thank you. February 21st, we will be heading down to Austin to talk to our local legislators about our legislative agenda. The last day to file bills is March 10th, and so after that we will know exactly what we have to look forward to from the 85th legislature. This month we're going to highlight vouchers because already there are 10 bills before our legislature regarding vouchers. And here are some of the concerns we have about vouchers. Vouchers take public money and give it to private institutions with very little transparency. You can currently go on our website and see how we spend every single dollar. There would be no way for the public to know how any dollar was spent at a private institution. Homeschool, by the way, is also considered to be part of a private school. Their agenda says it's for school choice. I would say that we have choice in schools. You have a choice to homeschool your child. You have a choice to choose a private school of your economic means. And you have a choice even with an LISD. You can choose any one of our amazing schools who hasn't reached capacity. You have our choice of any of our CTE classes and courses. We also have, which I was able to tour the other day, we have the blended learning and the virtual learning academy. Those are all choices that you can make. One of the other things I want to say about vouchers is that their cost is not going to equal what a private institution's tuition is. Currently, the amount that's been discussed is less than 25%, which will only mean a coupon for those who can already afford to send their children there. They will not provide transportation, and they will not provide the services that we provide. We take every student who comes to our door. Private institutions don't. They don't have to give accommodations for any kind of special education needs. They don't have to accommodate someone who doesn't speak English. We do. Public education, for me, is the bedrock of democracy. And I believe that as a district, I am proud that we have taken on legislative advocacy to fight the good fight for you and for the benefit of the children of LISD and ultimately for the benefit of the children who attend public schools and the future across the state of Texas. That's my soapbox.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Anything you'd like to add? Mr. Miller?
Ms. Prosnick, that was great. Thank you. I just want to echo the comments about vouchers, and I think that while this is an information item, the timing, the sense of urgency with our legislature is now, not when the bills go to committee, and it's before they come out. And so when we talk about things like Hedrick Elementary or College Street or Central or Durham Middle School or DeLay that are at capacity and in portables and kids don't have any options, vouchers are not the answer for those kids because they have to get transported to another school, or they have to get they're not going to get lunches at those schools like we provide. Or in the private schools, as Ms. Prosnick talked about, they are not schools that, or the charters, or a Coram Deo, they don't take every student. In fact, they exclude most students. And so this is an attempt for us to fight the fight for the schools and for the kids and for the families, and providing resources to for those kids to go to private school. There are other opportunities for that, but to take that out of tax dollars and not have the required transparencies. Even charter schools today, Ms. Coe I couldn't have said it better on District of Innovation, by the way. She's absolutely right as it relates to what's happening there. It's let us be like charters, as if that's a success. And so money from the state, this is our plea, money from the state be tied to the same restrictions that we have. Same transparency, taking every kid, providing the same services. And if they can, we're glad to compete on a level playing field.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay. Thanks so much. We appreciate y'all doing that each month. All right, next we'll move on to our discussion items. We have our monthly financial report. Mr. Ball?
Thank you, Madam President. The financial statements that the board has before them are the December 31, 2016 financial statements. These are fairly routine. There's probably one exception worthy of note, and that is that due to the way the New Year's Eve holiday fell on a weekend, that created a fairly significant timing difference in the recognition of tax collections as compared to the December 2015 financial statements. We have looked at that through the end of January and determined that timing difference did reverse itself, and we're on track as we should be, and that's largely attributable to the fact that the 31st fell on a weekend this year. Other than that, I think the statements are fairly routine, and we believe that they fairly represent the financial activities of the district through December 31st.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Are there any questions for him? Okay. Our next item is the academic calendar. Dr. Brockman?
Good evening, and thank you. You have before you this evening 4 calendar options for discussion. A, B, C, and D. A and B start with the uniform start date of the 28th of August, and C and D start earlier, thus requiring a District of Innovation status. Option B and option D were created by bringing the calendar committee back together after our last board meeting at the request of providing some additional options with the uniform start date as well as an early start date. The survey went back out for folks to provide some feedback on those calendar options. And as of this morning, we had 13,000 who had started the survey and 10,000 who had completed. And 69% of those 10,000 respondents selected C or D as their first choice, with 29% choosing A or B as their first choice. As of this morning, option C was edging out option D by some. That is the option that starts on the 21st of August, the 1 week early. That is the calendar option that one of the calendar options you saw last month. It was called B at that time. The calendar committee really feels that it's taken into account a lot of feedback and a lot of input along the way as we have looked at when other districts are starting, when spring break is being held, various options for winter break, which of course is a challenge when the holiday is closer to the weekend than the midweek, as well as various scenarios for professional learning embedded within the school year. And I would be pleased to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. Brockman. Are there questions? Mr. Miller? I have a question. Ms. Prosnick? Oh, you had your... Okay, Ms. Hassett.
Since this is a discussion, would it be for action on next month before we are considering any DOI potential?
Yes, it is slated for action at our March board meeting.
And so, Ms. Hassett, I had a conversation with Dr. Rogers today. Probably what we'll do, because we did have a workshop, because we have discussed DOI, we'll probably have action on DOI as well, so that we don't continue to postpone this, and those two items will be together. So, are there any other comments? Mr. Miller?
This is not going to surprise Dr. Rogers. So I couldn't be more disappointed with what's taking place with this calendar. Last month we talked about this and said, give us some recommendations. It wasn't go to the community and give another survey for them to look at that has a checkbox that you've looked at District of Innovation, which I would suspect that 90% of the people did not go look at District of Innovation. And I would encourage everybody to go back and listen to Mrs. Coe's comments in the recording, because this is an accelerated way to get us to buy into DOI. I'm not going to buy for it. I'm not going to fall for it. It doesn't matter to me, in all due respect, with the survey, what anybody says with the survey, because I'm being told that I have to do this, agree to District Innovation to go with option C. District Innovation is much more complex than this, and it was very well articulated by the lady earlier. And so why we're going out with another survey and now we're going to accelerate DOI, I don't even think we've got all the considerations. In all due respect to the meeting, we had a lot of things that we wanted to talk about with DOI, and now we're going to have to come up with some abbreviated things with DOI, and then to put things in that might help the school district, we're going to have to go through the whole process again, because DOI is a very public process, and it just, to me, does not seem that we're really being forthright on this. We have families that need to make decisions. Now, I get that now we've moved it to next month. That's great. But I'm just not in agreement that this represents the will of the board. The board has not voted. We did give indications as to where we wanted to go with this and get more on both this and DOI, but there is no legal calendar for us to vote on next week unless we first agree to District of Innovation. Then we have the legal option of selecting item C, but currently we don't have a legal option. So I just think that this is one where we need to just take a rest on District of Innovation, stop embarrassing us, quite frankly, around putting things in front of the community that are much more complex than just selecting a calendar as to when we're going to get out of school. In the current model, we have to start by the fourth Monday of August. Our battle on this needs to be with the legislature in saying, give us the same freedom without a special request that in starting school, not to go with District of Innovation so we can get a calendar. I just am disappointed with where we're at on this, with all due respect.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any other comments? Dr. Rogers?
First off, I appreciate Mr. Miller did forewarn me, and I do appreciate that. What Ms. Sheffield and I did discuss is we will put up to a vote for the board. You're absolutely right. The board needs to make a decision, have discussion about DOI. We will put that up for the board March 6th at our next board meeting before the calendar option. So we'll make both decisions in 3 weeks.
Any other comments or questions? No? Okay, I won't say anything. Next item on our agenda is, we move into our action items. And Mr. Ball, would you just like to provide us the overview?
Thank you, Madam President. This item has to do with the appointment of a law firm to provide delinquent tax collection attorney services. As you know, our incumbent law firm has requested to be excused from that contract, if you will, and as a result of that, we had a request for proposals, or request for qualifications, pardon me, and we had 4 respondent firms to that. Prior to publishing the request for qualifications, we asked the Finance Committee of the Board to review the evaluation criteria before it was published. Then we had the 4 firms respond. Each of the 4 firms who responded were interviewed. We had a committee that conducted those interviews comprised of our Executive Director of Technology, our Executive Director of Purchasing, our Executive Director of Accounting and Budget, one of our senior accountants, and the Chief Financial Officer. And this committee of 5 individuals interviewed each of the 4 respondent firms and asked them some pretty tough questions, we felt like. And based on those interviews and the written responses that the firms provided to our request for qualifications, all of that was put together, and we evaluated those firms, presented those results to the Board Finance Committee, and based on all of that process, it's the recommendation of the administration that the firm of Lineberger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP be recommended as the firm most qualified. Our reading of the statute requires that the recommendation be made based on qualifications of the firm, and the Lineberger firm does collect delinquent taxes for about 16 of the largest 20 largest school districts in Texas. They have a dedicated department that monitors bankruptcy filings both in Texas and in New York and Delaware. And as you know, that the bankruptcy is a federal statute, and therefore it's filed in the venue for that is in federal court. And so that enables them to be proactive in dealing with complex bankruptcies that may occur. They also, in their interview, provided some data to us that we had not seen before. So we actually learned a bit about our own delinquent tax portfolio as a result of some of the data that they provided. So for these reasons, it's the recommendation of the administration that the firm of Lineberger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson be appointed as the district's delinquent tax collection attorneys. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. I don't know if a representative from our Board of Finance Committee would like to speak to this before we open it up to the board. One of you, Ms. Sells?
I just appreciate the diligence of our staff in interviewing these candidates, and feel like that moving forward with Lineberger is a good choice.
Are there any questions from the board? Comments? Yes, Ms. Brosnick.
Mr. Ball, can you tell me if they have an office in our district?
They do not.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions, Mr. Miller?
I'm glad we're moving forward with another option. I think, have a lot of respect for Mr. Luna and his father. I think we learned in this process we had no way to measure our results. We weren't seeing anything that could tell us we were getting, there were no measures of performance, that type of thing. I do want you to know I'm not going to support the item. There's those who know why that is. I have full respect for the board committee. for Mr. Ball, Mr. Martin, and their decision process. But and I hope you're wildly successful. Once we vote, it will be the will of the board, and I'll support it, but I won't be voting for the action.
Any other comments? Yes, Ms. Hassett?
The Board Finance Committee, it was a very interesting discussion, had a lot of great factors, but we did go out for requests for qualifications intentionally. So the board intentionally made that requirement when Mr. Luna decided to retire. And so we wanted intentionally to make sure that when we have a contract for these services in the future, the qualifications were important. It was an interesting debate. There's a lot of things on this agenda are very near and dear to our trustees, and we think that we had a lot of great options, but the qualifications were definitely the factor that was most relevant to our discussions. In particular, what Mr. Ball had said was that Linebarger came in with information to our district that our district did not know about our delinquent tax return. They had done their homework prior to the interviews and were ready to go to bat right away.
Thank you, Ms. Hassett. I think one thing that I appreciate about the processes is that they remove any opportunities for a good old boy network to creep in. And I think that's what I appreciate most about the process. I know that I felt it was very fair and open and honest. And so anyway, I appreciate the work that was done. Do I have a motion for this item if there are no other comments?
I move to appoint the law firm to provide delinquent tax collection attorney services pursuant to request for qualifications 2494 and 17 delinquent tax collection attorney services.
Thank you, Ms. Hassett. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Prosnick.
Madam President,
Yes.
would it be appropriate to ask Ms. Hassett to name the firm that she's
Oh,
recommending?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Do I have to really say it? Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson.
Thank you, Ms. Hassett. So that is a motion by Ms. Hassett and a second by Ms. Prosnick. Is there any discussion? Dr. Rogers?
Ms. Sheffield, and I do know, speaking to Mr. Ball, that one of the items that I know several board members are concerned about, and actually sort of leads to Ms. Prosnick's question, is about the local connection. And, you know, I will tell you that my expectation is that there will be work on my part as we move forward to create that local connection.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Are there any other comments? You know, I think just to that point, I think we all appreciate the opportunity when we can work locally. I think that's always where we want to go, as long as all things are considered equal. And I think you have to look at that item first and make sure that the decision you make is based on qualifications. So, okay, so we have our motion and our second. All those in favor? And that is Ms. Sells and Ms. Timish and Ms. Sheffield and Ms. Hassett and Ms. Prosnick. All those opposed? And that is Ms. Cox and Mr. Miller. Okay. Moving on to item 2. Consider order calling for 2017 Board of Trustees general election for place 6 and 7. I don't know that there's really any other commentary that we need to have around that. Is there any comments that would like to be made, or do we have a motion? Okay.
Ms. Sheffield, I'd like to consider the order calling for the 2017 Board of Trustees general elections for place 6 and place 7.
Thank you, Ms. Prosnick. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Timish. That is a motion by Ms. Prosnick and a second by Ms. Timish. Is there any discussion?
I just provided clarification. This is just a procedural item that we do every year. We're just calling the election. This is not that we're voting for Ms. Hassett and I. This is just we call the election. We're required from a statutory perspective to do so, and that's what we're doing this evening.
That's correct. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Okay. Oh, let me get there. Okay, so our next item is to consider adoption of an order calling a bond election. Do I have a motion on that item?
I'll make it. Ms. Sheffield, I consider adoption of order of calling a bond election.
Thank you, Ms. Prosnick. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Dr. Rogers?
And can we make that
You wanna-
more specific as far as May? Okay. You want to
Do you want to amend it with do you just need the amount?
need the amount and the date?
Oh, and the date.
May 6th, 2017.
Do you look at, can you see it?
Sorry, my eyes fail me. Ms. Sheffield, I consider adoption of an order calling for a bond election on May 6, 2017 for $737,550,000 of bonds by the Lewisville Independent School District for the acquisition, construction, and equipment of school buildings and the purchase of necessary sites for school buildings and levying the tax in payment thereof, including the cost of any credit agreements executed in connection with the bonds.
Thank you, Ms. Prosnick. And Mr. Miller seconded that. Is there any discussion? I mean, we've had quite a bit of discussion. Mr. Miller.
I recognize I'm going to get plenty of opportunity to discuss this and get questioned in the next few months, but I think it's just important to provide some clarification. There's 7 people up here tonight that will go home with the full responsibility of this decision. And I get that people are not going to be happy, on both sides, by the way. If we were to build Hedrick Elementary, we've got people that have already come to us and said, where's our community school? Why don't we have one? My kids, while they live in a wealthier part of town, not mine, but some will say, ride our bus an hour and 5 minutes. And there are very legitimate concerns and fears that people have that we do owe you answers to. There's no question. And we're going to provide those answers going forward. When I said that nobody's come to me, nobody's called me, and I make myself very available, and my number's everywhere. Nobody's called me and said, I'm concerned about this. And yes, many of us did go out in the community. We consulted with people on the board, the oversight, the FAC, and others to get their perspective on it. I think that in this, there's nothing we could say to make some people happy. And there maybe isn't anything you could say to change our mind. But I know this, that I've anguished over this for the last 2 weeks, heavily. And I have to carry the burden of my vote tonight when I go home. You don't. You can pepper us with questions. You can criticize us. You can attack us. You can say that we're not responsible, we're not open. Yet we're the 7, not Dr. Rogers, not Mr. Ball, not the FAC members, that have to carry that responsibility for what happens in LISD in the future. And many of you have benefited from school boards prior to us, and even people that we've unseated, of decisions that were made and you benefit from today, just like I talked about with the devices. So when we talk about the services that these kids go, and Dr. Rogers says the services go with the kid, people don't accept it. But yet when we were hiring Dr. Rogers, he was absolutely, unequivocally, in a national search, the person that the community and the teachers wanted. You could not go to a basketball game or any other event without getting pulled aside as a trustee. Those of us who were trustees at the time, you've got to hire him. Same with the community. That's the same guy helping us make this decision today. The teachers, the staff members, the parents that put some of us into office, we're the same people. We anguish over this. We see those kids out there. Everyone has a name. But you know what? There are a lot of kids that ride buses. And many don't remember back when my kids went to Flowermont Elementary, right? It was just unacceptable that Flowermont Elementary kids in Double Oak, where I lived, God forbid that they would go to Bridlewood. In fact, the allegations were that Double Oak was trailer park trash. There was not even a trailer park in Double Oak. It was in Flower Mound, but that's what we were told. And yet our kids every day had to drive through Bridlewood to go to Flower Mound Elementary. You know what? That school is very diverse. And I'm glad my kids went to it. I'm glad. Now, there's nothing wrong with Bridlewood Elementary. But I'm telling you, my kids are not scarred from being at Flower Mound Elementary. So in these decisions, I get that they're emotional. And I just hope people understand and appreciate how much goes into this. And I know that there's answers, and I think we need to give answers. Right? Now, some may not. The kids are going to be taken care of, absolutely, unequivocally. There are a lot of people that would love to walk across the street for a school. I think, Ms. Prosnick, maybe your kids would, right? I mean, my kids couldn't, right? And so we are going to take care of the kids. And you just look back at our history of taking care of kids. That's what we're here for. It is what we're here for. And our record and the decisions we've made will stand and support the perspective that we bring in this and the passion that we feel for these kids and the depth that we anguish over this. The other thing is, it was brought up, the plans that were provided, and I respect Ms. Cox tremendously. But those plans were missing a lot of things, people. You look at those plans, you think it's everything. There's no parking. There's no easements accommodated for. There's no drainage in the back and storm sewage. There are a lot of things that are missing in those plans. And everybody wants us to build, and it will have to be a compromised facility or an outdoor facility that's not the same. And 10 years from now, people are going to evaluate us on why didn't you build just like every other school district in LISD when we go to a football game or, a middle school basketball game. That's how we'll be evaluated. This is not about there's no money for Hedrick Elementary. It's not about that. It's about the constraints on that property and building standard schools. And that's how we will get evaluated in 10 years from now, not about whether we kept it or not. So I know there's going to be a lot of discussion on this, but I feel strongly enough to make those statements as we go into this vote.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Certainly this has been a long process. We started back in July. Looking at it, we convened the committee. We had a lengthy board discussion at our workshop, and through all of that process, I think we've arrived at that place where we can move forward and take a vote. Are there any other comments or questions that need to be made for the board? Okay, are you ready for the vote? All right. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Okay. So I move, I'm sorry. Our next item is the consent agenda. And so I'd like to ask if there are any members of the board that need to pull any items for discussion. Are there any items? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. You got it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Timish. That is a motion by Mr. Miller and a second by Ms. Timish. Any other comments? All those in favor? And that's unanimous?
Motion adjourned.
No.
Oh, we're not going home, are we?
All right, the next item on the agenda is to consider a Level 3 employee grievance appeal because the board will be hearing a complaint against a district employee and because personally identifiable information about a public school student will necessarily be revealed. This hearing will be heard in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.074 and 551.0821, respectively. We will therefore move into closed session at this time to hear the Level 3 employee grievance appeal. The time is now 8:33. We can, if you want to take a break.
I did get a note from the daughter that wasn't necessary. Oh, yeah, no, well, thank you.
them real quick to make sure that was reversed. We are back on the record in open session, having returned from closed session. The time is now 10:20 p.m. Does any board member have a motion regarding the employee grievance appeal?
I move to uphold the Level 2 employee grievance decision of the administration, and I further, that's it.
Okay.
Sorry, period.
Thank you, Ms. Sells. Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Cox. That is a motion by Ms. Sells and a second by Ms. Cox. Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. If there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned, and the time is now 10:21 p.m.